Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Broadband Heroes. I'm your host, Nick, and I've got some amazing people on the pod today. Welcome back, of course, Mr. Brian Hollister.
Thank you.
Fire, the steady man in the Batcave here today.
Mm-hmm.
We also have another great person, Emily from Whitepaw. How you doing, Emily?
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right, today we're going to be talking about video, which is, this is a broad podcast about broadband, but we're going to talk about video because a lot of times when people think video, the instant reaction is TikTok dances or YouTube or things that just, hog bandwidth in somebody's house that make the parents go scream at them. We're going to talk a little bit about the video relative to broadband and communities today. But before I jump right into that, Emily, why don't you just give us a quick rundown of who you are, what you do, and what's Whitepaw in all this?
Okay, sounds great. So I am the executive director of Whitepaw, and we are a shared headend and video and transport company. So historically, we had gone out and negotiated transport agreements, allowing us to transport A&E, ESPN, Disney, all of the exciting content you view every day, and offer it to businesses that wanted to get into the video space, but didn't want to build $1 million headend. And then we decided we wanted to also become an affiliate where we could provide signal to end users and compete against YouTubes and Hulu. And so we decided to acquire a company allowing us those rights as well. So a little bit of what we do. Yeah.
I think everybody knows what Brian does, but Brian, just so for those people who jump into this episode now, what does Bonfire do?
Yeah, excited to be here and talk with Emily about video. But yeah, Bonfire, we help communities, sovereign nations, counties. We help them realize, their digital dreams and being able to control their digital future. So we'll help them develop broadband solutions, the business case, what type of model they would be interested in possibly having, whether it be a vertically integrated ISP or open access. And ultimately, we help execute, on those plans, and we can ultimately do engineering, construction, and operations of those third-party assets. So.
Well, let's think about, right now, broadband's a lot in the news, BEAD, lots of money going around to communities. But I think, when we think about a community and what happens in the community, there's not as much talk about like local live sports or public access or government channels. And I think, why don't we help, maybe Emily, you can help educate a little bit about, that's a different side of video that I think communities need to be thinking about, right?
For sure. Yeah. And it's one way for, if you're in the space, to differentiate yourselves from those national providers, because there's an opportunity for all of that content to be broadcast and share it with your family that might be living in California or somewhere else, because the technology allows us to stream all of that today, and people can stay educated. And I know I host a No Commercial Breaks podcast with a dear friend, Gene Edlund, and that's one of the big hot topics we've discussed lately is being able to provide community content and things that are local in your community that can bring people closer together and make them feel that they're part of something, especially for like older people who might not be able to get out of their homes.
So when we think about, I guess, Brian, from a network perspective, a lot of what is going on now is we're building a network for the future, right? I mean, that's why we're obviously big advocates of fiber and why it can deliver more. But when we think about communities, how does video play into, or does it play into network design or network architecture?
Absolutely plays into it. I mean, over the years, the technology has continued to improve. In the beginning, we used to just throw bandwidth at it, but the technology has improved dramatically. And with the capabilities across these fiber networks, we can just control the quality of service so much greater. So really, it is about having, just excess capacity to continue to handle all the streams that folks want to end up doing, because, this is multicast. Everyone's going to, watch whatever they want versus live TV, and we're all watching the same thing and it's just being shared equally with everyone. So there is a major concern, and it's probably the biggest complaint that we hear out there, because even when you have fiber, Is your house a big home and your Wi-Fi device is not allowing those TVs to connect well? So, remember, it's always about the lowest common denominator on that entire network that you have to think about. So, we're always thinking about it, and we're always being challenged. It's easy to get the signal to be beautiful across the entire fiber network, but actually onto that wireless device, there's a whole nother level of effort. But we're doing it every single day. It's just that's when you get inside buildings, homes. People now want to watch it on their screen porch, right? Get it through brick walls. That's becoming more of the challenge. Of course, as long as the house is wired with fiber. But if it's not fiber, we have a whole nother challenge to work through.
For sure.
Both of you guys work with ISPs, and obviously, especially local ISPs are the ones that are really driving this initiative and they know their communities, right? But do you think that they understand, when we get into things like licensing and carriage and all these, do they understand the elements of that relative to the future? And I guess because I think, from what all the headlines are really about, getting permits, getting in the ground, right? They don't we don't talk as much about what's next. What are you going to do with the broadband?
Well, I guess let me just help tee this lofty loft up to you. Is my world I remember helping one of our tier 1 carriers roll out their video offering, and oh my gosh, the head end investment was massive, and then the investment that we put into the labs to test thousands of set-top boxes and all of these things, it was so incredible. And after they had spent millions of dollars, and every vendor, a part of their ecosystem, had spent millions of dollars, they end up canning it because that wasn't enough, right? That wasn't enough to get the right content distribution rights and things like that to compete. It was just so hard. So my experience is that many of those folks are scared of video, but yet what I see just from our vantage point is there's a lot of folks in these communities that still want that video. I know in my own household, I will be very hard pressed to change the remote control associated with that video unit, as we have some older folks that live in our home with us. So, how do you guys deal with those types of things? Because I don't think there was ever an issue with ISPs believing that it added value. It was just was the juice worth the squeeze? It was very hard business. And I haven't been directly in it for a minute. So
right. And so I think that's I'm a huge believer in partnerships, finding a partnership where the values align, right? And that's exactly what we do. So we partner with companies that want to offer video service, and we're taking care of all of that, so they don't have to. So we can help you and create flexible solutions. As we can be involved as much or as little as you want, but it's our core business. It's everything that we do, and we're constantly looking at what we need to do to be able to keep the subscriber base happy. And in our case, most of who we partner with are in the rural areas, and so they're not going to spend millions of dollars to put up a head end. It doesn't make any sense. They're happy to offload that, including the headaches of programming and content negotiations, and we can take care of all of that for you. We can help you design a solution for the traditional set-top box, or the future is streaming. We've got that solution. It will allow you to keep the remote that you like today in your household for the older demographics that might be residing. We can do that because of all of the partners we have, all of the affiliates, and we're an affiliate ourselves because of the subscriber base we have. So we're gaining the economies of scale versus a company they can't justify putting up $1 million head end to serve 500 subscribers, right? But we can do that, and everybody wins. Yeah.
So do you think it's all about, it's truly about scalability, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So in a more distributed, as we see more and more distributed, I think, network architectures with BEAD and with all the funding like that, do you guys see that that's the model to go forward? That hey, if you want to have this, you're gonna have a distributed architecture and plan. That's the only way you can really make it happen in a smaller rural area.
So are you talking about ISPs need to be able to distribute that content within their own network, but then I, as a head end, need to use anybody who's got fiber, right? I need to get connectivity to one of the head ends that we have. So, yeah.
So is this as easy, because what I've seen with some of the rural carriers, I mean, they've been really innovative as partners are becoming innovative in how they help serve them, so those local ISPs can serve their communities. And one of the areas I've been excited about is just seeing kind of how the wireless MNVO is working. For some of them, it's very turnkey, and now it's like they're the ones talking and still have that storefront in those small little communities. Is this just yet another kind of perfect add-on? Because I feel like, there's been like an old world of jadedness, the folks that maybe tried to step in this business and got burned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that got into wireless and built towers and all kinds of stuff and also got burned. But now kind of this partner resell model seems to be working in other industries. Do you think now is the time where video is really at that same, I guess, point?
Yeah, I do. Back in the day, it was the bundle, right? It was the triple play, TV, phone, internet, right? Now the bundle is being reimagined. So it's the MVNO, the video, and the internet. That's the triple play everybody wants. And you can tack on other services. You can add other apps through partnerships that are available. You can do managed Wi-Fi. You can add security. So it's definitely, what are you going to do to differentiate yourself and your offerings compared to your competitor? And there's data and stats that prove if you're an internet provider, which is all the buzz, right? You make money on that. You don't make money on video. I get it. But if you can provide more services to a customer, your penetration on what you make money is going to be higher. Why wouldn't you do it?
Well, I just think of, Nick and I have known each other for a very long time. And in the world of product marketing and our past lives, ARPU is everything. And we're constantly thinking about every penny, right?
Yep.
And so while, you said you're not making a lot in video, from an aspect of investment to return and ARPU.
True.
Is there still a strong argument, though, obviously, to be considering it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, from an ISP perspective, for them the more they can bundle, the more margin they're going to get, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And what is the barrier of entry, if you will, for an ISP? Because we work with a lot of ISPs that we're bringing them to these open access networks, and I would say quite a few of them don't do video. They're thinking about it, or maybe they used to, and they're good with it, but we still run into that a lot, depending on where we're serving, where it's like you're talking, to that family member that's like, okay, great, I like what you're saying, but what's going to happen with, my bundle that I already have with, my cable company, because they don't want to change that TV out.
Right. Well, I think the cable companies that haven't gone to streaming, if you offer a streaming play, it's going to be what people are wanting. It's the way people are consuming TV today. Barrier of entry is the biggest thing's money, right? Like it's the capex and what you're having to invest with an unknown, because video does have a bad rap from history. They're concerned about, why would I get into that business? But we always joke, Gina and I, we laugh and say, oh, we didn't think we'd have a job. And, we've said that for years because video is dying. And now we're busier than ever, right? So it's just interesting to see how the landscape has changed.
Are you busier than ever because you have lowered that barrier of entry for these ISPs to get into
100%. Yeah.
So do you think there's an opportunity for the people that are, ISPs were the ones having networks, but now you have tribal nations owning networks, you have electric co-ops, you have communities. How do you, for those people who have even less experience, they don't have experience in broadband, much less in video, right? What would you tell them? Partner
with people who can handle as much of the pain points as possible, right? Just like you said, you could help ISPs, right? You're not an ISP yourself, but you can help ISPs. So if you partner with somebody like myself and the company, then you are customer facing. You're going to be the local shop and take that first call, and we'll help educate you. But aside from that, we've got partners that are going to take care of everything from the outages and all of the other things, because if they're building the network, they should have somebody that has expertise in managing it and understanding if that's up or down. Aside from that, if there's a video outage, then we can step in and help with that.
I don't know if this exists, but I was just thinking, Brian, like that. We think of open access, right? Open access is all about choice for providers, but I mean, it's open access for video too, right? To some extent, I mean, you could have that. We don't see that often, but like you could have that as a.
Well, I mean, I think today's over-the-top type stuff is kind of becoming that. You can choose from multiple content providers, right?
Yeah.
But I think one of the challenging ones is like, how do you create a local channel for, a small rural community? Is that something that is a lot easier with, working with a partner like Whitepaw?
Well, I think there's options. I'm not an attorney or anything, but a local community that I'm in actually had a local community channel for every school, and there were like 7 districts, right? And they're like, oh, it took too much time and effort, and they couldn't find the kids that might want to be taping that. But I've got young kids, right? I've got Huddle, which is used for basketball. I've got Livestream, which is used for hockey. That content's already being streamed because everybody's wanting to see it. So I think that's the way to create most efficiently and cost effectively, putting that content out on a local community channel for your offering.
It kind of begs the question then, like now it's so easy to generate with AI, right? It's so easy to generate content. Like, I mean, I could generate content in minutes.
Yep.
Will there become licensing around that, right? Like, I mean, will that be a problem? Like to be able to now offer that through a network?
Yeah, very well could be. And it's interesting to talk about licensing. And one of the other biggest problems for an ISP to justify getting into video today is the fact that YouTube is cheaper than what you might be able to offer with our solution. But it's all because, and there's a whole bunch going on right now in DC, the FCC, and how does it all shake out? I'm not sure. But if you're a YouTube or Hulu, you can negotiate with the networks, Fox, right, owned and operated, versus the affiliate stations where Allen Media, Sinclair, all of them are going to charge you more per subscriber, and then the networks is going to get some of those fees. And I mean, there's a lot going on in the media in general, but there's just a lot of legislation and talks between the National Broadcasters Association and the FCC about what is that going to look like. I'd love to negotiate with Fox. I'd love to bring the price down. Probably not going to happen. But if YouTube goes on the same level playing field because they're forced to negotiate with the affiliate stations, like who's going to offer better customer service? I would like to think the rural community ISPs that we're doing business with. So, I mean, there's a huge value add. So I would say with some of the prospects we're talking to now, that's a big concern. Of course, we tout customer service and all of that. And then the whole getting to the level playing field. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I truly believe with some of the unrest right now, it's going to happen. Do you want to wait and get in the business after all of it, or do you want to be ready now?
Yeah, I guess that's a question. Yeah, I know you don't have a crystal ball. I mean, but you could crystal TV. What do you knowing what we know now? Obviously, there is a lot going on with the FCC. There's a lot going on with just money in general in DC. If an ISP now, like in 2025, 2026, is now the time to try to make some decisions, or is it? I mean, are they playing the more cautious game, or is it better to get in now? It's like trying to buy a house when the market's down versus the market's up.
Right. Yeah. Well, and whatever you can do, I guess, if you're going to get in it to limit your risk is really what you need to be thinking about. And there's ways to do that. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be too far behind. I know I'm in the business, but still.
I guess it's interesting. I mean, from a network perspective, again, when we think about the different technology types, I wonder, it doesn't come up, but like if you think about Leo, right? Video, I mean, across all things, business consumer is dominant. So even on the streaming side, it's like, but it doesn't seem to come up as much as how impacted video can be by the technology, which is interesting, right? Like, I mean, obviously fiber, you're going to get a better experience over fiber than you are Leo. Brian, you made a good point about the wireless in the house, right? I mean, that's also plays into factor, but I just wonder, is there an opportunity, just like we're trying to educate people on broadband, is there an opportunity to keep educating people on video and how it works from behind the scenes, because it ultimately impacts their life and how they how they experience it.
Or is that just complicating the matter and you just need Emily to make it as simple as possible? Hey, do you want to have this? And do you want to have your own little browser and brand it and boom, you're jamming, right? Because I mean, there are areas that want that bundle, period. And they want it bundled up somehow, nice and pretty. They want someone to educate them how the controller works, right? I mean, that's all real stuff. So, and even in my house, I mean, it's football season. So on the weekend, you know, like every TV's on, we're watching every kind of game. And as soon as someone goes to pop on that fourth stream, it's like, you know, like, you know, you're going to have problems. We have a gig, you know, and Wi-Fi 7, blah, 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 you know, and it's like, nope, fourth stream, going to be a problem.
So are there any, I guess, you know, we don't have the crystal ball, but like from an economics perspective, are there things that ISPs or communities or tribal leaders should be thinking about if they do want to get into video? What are the economics they should be thinking about?
Good question.
What's involved these days? I mean, like in the past, we had set-top boxes and this and that and all this stuff, right? Like, where are we at today? Like, if we have a client out there that's thinking about adding video to their ISP offering, what's it look like these days?
Yeah, so I mean, it could be that set-top box, or which is streaming. The set-top box now is streaming, but a number of the affiliates we do business with today just want the BYOD, bring your own device. So you can have your Amazon Fire Sticks, your Roku. That's eliminating the proprietary set-top boxes that used to be required. There's also a benefit, though, for an ISP to have that set-top box in the home because of the troubleshooting. So it really depends on what is it you're looking for in your offering. Definitely, I would say it's a way to upsell. If you're not offering managed Wi-Fi, get into it, right? Like, people don't necessarily have all the technical expertise. If you're going to offer streaming, I highly, highly recommend that you offer managed Wi-Fi.
More ARPU too.
Oh yeah, for
more
sure.
ARPU.
Yeah.
It's the number one issue you're contending with. Hit it head on.
Yeah. And I mean, the other economics are, to your point, should we be educating ISPs that are looking to get into this? And I remember a prospect call, and he was referred, and he goes, okay, so I would like to offer video. What's that going to take? And I was like, well, you know, we've got to figure out what middleware you want. There's feature-rich middleware that might cost a little bit more versus this that might not have as many features, but it's going to be more cost-effective. And then we've got we need to figure out your lineup, and we've got to do retransmission negotiations. And it was like deer in the headlights, right? And he's like, I thought you were just going to send me a bill, and I was going to just provide TV. And I'm like, wait. I am going to do everything I possibly can. I'm going to send you that bill, but I need to have these conversations with you to understand, what am I designing for you? What's your end game? What does that look like? And it's been great, but so many people have no idea. But you don't know what you don't know, right? So it can be scary, but there are also things that they need to understand in order to make a decision.
You know, where do you think?
Wait, hold on, wait. I just want to confirm. Can we keep the old remote control in place if we want it? Because I talked to a CTO the other day. He says our biggest issue is literally replacing that remote control for a senior. It's like you're prying it out of their hands. They understand it. They feel comfortable with it. You give them that Apple remote, it's like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you can absolutely keep the remote. My husband is 53 and he can't handle a streaming device remote. So 100% there's options.
Okay. No, I think it's seriously, it's huge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to cover all demographics here.
You do, yes.
Which is kind of funny to think about it, right? I mean, the volume of video is more than it's ever been in history. And yet, you have the extremes that probably people in their 90s and people that are probably kids that can do video on a phone than I could do, you know, with 100 hours. So interesting times. All right, so let's end with the most this is odd segment here though, but the most comical video experience you guys have heard about personally or in your home and business. Just any kind of funny video story, like could be the remote issue, just something that's reminds everybody we're in the broadband space. We talk about technology, how complicated it is, but at the end of the day, it's the little things we got to pay attention to. It's a good story.
So I'll say during COVID, I had kids. Well, I have kids. They didn't go away, so I still have them, right? Yes. And we were confined to our home, right? So, I mean, getting a little antsy and whatnot. And my son is something else and very high energy. And so the remote broke. And my husband was like, you're going to have to go get another remote from like the local telco. And it's our video signal or whatever. And I said, no, you're going to have to learn how to use an Amazon Fire remote, because this is the way of the future. Like, we are not going to go back to a traditional remote. So even though that was his request and I got it, I get it. That's my funny story.
Well, I guess the thing that popped in my head just now is I belong to this men's group. We get together, a bunch of guys, and we cook it up. So everyone has to bring a certain meal. And this particular time, the gentleman that helps lead it created a video. And we call this Meat Church. So there's, we love smoking meat and this and that. But so we call this gentleman that leads this group the Rev. And so he sent out this video, and I was blown away. Where, I mean, just like what's any one of us can create these days, right? In terms of the video, the capabilities. I mean, I immediately showed it to my daughter, my son. We laughed so hard; it was just so funny. But just everything he put together, and I was like, man, you're really taking this club to the next level. But it's just amazing, right? What's at just any individual's fingertips, these days. But it requires, bandwidth, right? Good quality. Yep. If something's going to hit big time, you got to have great partners if you want to deliver a great experience. This thing even was like, starting to have issues, just trying to watch it on our phone. But I was blown away by what any human can do these days.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was just thinking about how we dubbed in Jon Stewart talking about how great Bonfire was.
Yes. Nick has done some very good deep fakes. We keep those internal, but they're very funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, the moral of the story, folks, to those listening, is video is still here. It has not gone away. It's evolving. And at the end of the day, it is a critical component of people's communities, their businesses. And I think, what Emily and what Whitepaw are doing, it's the opportunity to bring partnerships and to, it's still the triple play. It's just a different way of doing it. So,
right.
And better, easier these days.
Yeah, for sure. So Brian, thank you again. Emily, thanks for joining the pod today. For those listeners, obviously we are on Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. So thanks for another episode of Broadband Heroes, and we will see you here next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.